Man, it's good to be back. I want to apologize profusely for my absence over the last couple of months. A bunch of stuff behind the scenes, but it's all sorted now, and it is good to be back. And what a welcome back I've got. Oh my God! Tell you what, when it comes to live action remakes, Disney's like that one creepy guy at the club that just doesn't get the message. Like, you're drunk, Disney. Just go home. What's that? Everyone hates our last live action remake? Well, we better hurry up and make another one then. It doesn't matter how many lukewarm receptions these Disney live action remakes get. Ain't no stopping this train. They just keep going. Disney are not gonna stop until they've ruined the few things that people actually like about Disney. And next up on the chopping block is Peter Pan and Wendy, a movie so good, Disney removed it from the top promotional bar on Disney Plus after just 2 days. A movie so good, it received an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. A movie so good, we're just gonna have to watch it. So let's go. Peter Pan and Wendy is a timeless tale of a young girl who, defying her parents' wishes to attend boarding school, travels with her 2 younger brothers to the magical Neverland. I like how they just leave Peter Pan out of the description of a Peter Pan movie. Like, oh, you know, do you feel like you're missing something, you know? Little pixie boy, green hat, little red feather. No. You know, if Disney could have had their way, they would have called this movie Wendy and the Adventures of Wendy. Even Disney know they've got to attach Peter Pan's name to sell a few extra tickets, and unfortunately it looks like that worked because at least 12 unlucky people ended up watching this movie. Now, first up, everyone saw the trailers, and the one thing pretty much everyone picked up on is that Disney's back at it again with their old tricks, tinkering or tinkerbelling with the characters. But my biggest problem with this movie is the British cultural appropriation. The Darling family, the very British Darling family, isn't particularly. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Darling are both portrayed by Canadian actors. I mean, sure, it is possible for a Canadian to do a great British accent. I mean, look at Sutherland in Pride and Prejudice. But still, Mr. Darling's accent, not too bad. Mrs. Darling's accent, that makes me want to pour hot tea down my ear rolls. And don't even get me started on Wendy. She sounds like she's auditioning for an Oliver Twist parody. Please, sir, can I have some more? No, you fucking can't. And the film starts as previous iterations have, except I'm lying and it doesn't. And it stumbles its way into revealing Peter Pan. Do you remember the original movie, the original animation, and the 2000s live action? There was a bit of mystery before revealing Peter Pan. There was a little bit of a, what's going on here? Not here. They just, boom, here he is. He's just here.
Are you Peter Pan?
Were you expecting someone else?
I see. I feel like the answer you're going for is no. I'm gonna go with no. They got rid of the songs. Why did they get rid of the? Did they learn nothing from Mulan? I don't know who came up with this idea that if you remove some of the best and most beloved bits from a film, it somehow makes it better. In this case, definitely not. I was down for a bit of, you could fly, you could fly, you could fly. No, none of that in this. Gone. They tease it a little bit and then it's like, pull the rug from under you. Nope. No singing for you. It's time to grow up. This being Peter Pan and all. Also, the flying looks less convincing than the live action Peter Pan made 2 decades prior. And then one of the most famous scenes in the movie, when they're flying over London toward Neverland. It's a fully CG shot. What's the point in a live action remake that's animated? Look, I'm not expecting them to actually film people actually flying over actual London. But can we not do a bit of compositing? Rather than resorting to CG, it's just lazy. Oh, by the way, the Elizabeth Tower is now an interdimensional portal. Thank you, Disney. And remember the original movie? When they first lay their eyes on Neverland and it's this wonderful utopic landscape with these crazy rainbows. Yeah, keep that in mind while I show you the new live action version of Neverland. Because, come on. With the cameras we've got these days, with the CG we've got access to. Surely they've blown the original out of the water. Come on. That was released 70 years ago.
Neverland!
What the fuck is that? That looks like one of the old Mac wallpapers. You're telling me Neverland is just Catalina Island?
It's a Catalina wine mixer.
It's just a stinking boulder.
It's not just a boulder. It's a rock.
I feel like you should never be watching a Hollywood movie, sat there thinking, like, yeah, you know, I reckon I could afford the budget of this movie. Wendy sounds like Oliver Twist, and now Neverland is the same island where Luke Skywalker drank alien titty milk. Disney fell off. Disney fell off, dude. Disney is Wendy without pixie dust. Just someone throwing themselves off the third story of a building.
I could never have dreamed of this.
Come on, there's more.
I don't know. Neverland looks a whole lot like Scotland to me. You can just get the train there. You don't need a magical flying boy. We're then introduced to one of Tale's greatest antagonists, Captain Hook. In this instance, portrayed by Jude Law.
Do you like Jude Law?
He's not at his best in this.
Never say his name.
I don't know, man. It just doesn't look or sound right. Hook is a fabulous character. He's a man of extremes who never occupies the middle ground in any occasion. He's equal parts cunning as he is foolish. He's equal parts goofy as he is genuinely quite terrifying. You know, he's an unpredictable guy, you know, who won't hesitate to kill his own men for frivolous reasons. But this Hook, I'm just not feeling it. And then it's time to address the Lost Boys.
Lost boys.
Every last one of us. But you're not all boys. So?
I want to be able to sit here and cheer the idea that anyone can get any role, but I do also firmly believe that forced inclusion is just as bad as exclusion, because, you know, it might seem like a remedy to some of you, but it's just surface level. You're still failing to tackle the real issue at hand, which is the thought process behind casting. You're trying to combat race being a factor during the casting process by making race one of the only factors during the casting process. You're doing the same thing just for a slightly better reason, and that doesn't change the fact that what you're doing isn't really the best way of going about things. Never mind that, because there's a more important, more pressing issue to address. I don't like Captain Hook's hook. It looks shit. It should be pointed. It should be, you know, like the question mark. It should have like the curl and the straight. It should be shiny. It should look clinical. Something that, you know, I should be fearing my guts being torn out. But looking at this old thing, I'm not scared of that. I'm worrying about the last time I got a tetanus jab. Actually, going back to the point of inclusion very briefly, Smee isn't fat enough. He's a big guy. He's a chunky fella. He's a heckin' chunker. Not in this, he isn't. Disney's not having any of that anymore. Nope. I mean, Jim Gaffigan, you know, he's a funny guy. But he's just not rotund enough. Smee, you've seen the original. He's so large you can't find a garment to fit in, and his belly just kind of hangs out the bottom. No fat representation in this whatsoever. Disney, you need to do better.
You've got to do better.
Then a classic bit of Disney rewriting history. So we get to the scene with Skull Rock. You know, this is usually where, like, they've got Tiger Lily tied up and they're going to drown her. The pirates, this is. Now, in the original, Peter bests Captain Hook through his cunning and skill. In this one, Peter's dumb, and like his shadow gets caught by Hook while he's monologuing, and then Wendy has to step in and save the day because she's fierce and brave and fierce.
What's a Wendy?
I'm a Wendy. Wendy Moira Angela Darling, and I am from London, England, where gentlemen do not harm children!
That accent is really nice, and I really like listening to it. Just to jog your memory, in the original movie, Wendy sat there doing f*** all, apart from occasionally going, Peter! But we can't have any of that, can we? I'll tell you what though, the Skull Rock scene is a perfect example of why this movie sucks. The original, like, you know, this is a tense scene. You know, it's slowly rising tension intercut with well-timed comedy that lures the audience, very much like Peter in the scene, into a bit of a false sense of security. It's wonderfully witty, very well written. This one, it's colourless, humourless, poorly executed, poorly paced, tenseless, if that's even a word. It's a caricature of the original, and it added nothing new apart from Wendy's little girl power monologue, which is all well and good, but it had no bearing on the scene and was of no relevance. So fell as flat as you might expect it would. Not to mention that this scene had one of the weirdest endings. In the original, Peter comes in, swoops in, saves Tiger Lily, and they fly off into the distance. In this one, he just like howls at Captain Hook for whatever reason. Okay. And then Wendy slaps him because, I don't know, humor or girl power? I don't know.
Well, that was fun.
Dude, chill. What the hell? They even included a shot of Tinkerbell looking like genuinely distressed by this scene. Like, this is a weird-ass film, dude. And then Wendy begins deconstructing the character of Peter Pan.
A magical fairy that makes you fly. And a gaggle of children that do your bidding with a princess that cleans up your messes while you're off gallivanting with pirates.
Didn't you, like, just get here? You're making a whole lot of assumptions and being verbally and physically aggressive towards the guy that did just save your life. I mean, I know some of you might say, oh yeah, but Wendy's mum used to tell her stories of Neverland. That's how she knows about all this stuff. And yeah, sure, but she was on board up until this point. She knew about the pirates. She knew about the danger. So, you know, that doesn't make Peter a bad person for putting her in harm's way. It makes her a dumbass for going in the first place. But no! Wendy can hit people and scream at them. She's a strong, independent female. Man, Disney's so good.
I don't know where my home is exactly. Where I want it to be.
Oh, boo-hoo. She lives with a very wealthy family in the wealthiest part of the country in a house that most people today wouldn't be able to afford to live in. Why are we now trying to make Wendy out to be some sort of victim who doesn't know where she belongs? Oh, but Jonny, her parents want to send her to boarding school. Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Not a place where she'll be educated. And oh, no, she might learn things. Oh, no, no. Shut up, dude.
My great-great-grandmother, she came to me and said, feel the ground beneath your feet so that your eyes can find the stars. Hold the past in your heart, but know that where you go from here, it's up to you.
What is this garbage? Just because she's a Native American doesn't make that wise and mysterious. It's stupid. Feel the ground beneath your feet so that your eyes can find the stars. Hold the past in your heart, but know that where you go from here is up to you. Those are just 4 unrelated statements. That's just a run-on sentence. It's not wisdom. This sucks. Now, don't get it twisted. I am not blaming any child actors for any of this. None of this is any of their fault. Like, you know, have I seen better child acting? Sure. I have also seen much, much worse. The blame for this shite falls squarely on the adults behind the production of this movie. And then there's the scene with Wendy and the Lost Boys. Now, in the original, this is where she sings to them, and she teaches them about the importance of motherhood and the often overlooked strength and support that good mothers show. In this, again, they've just scrapped that and replaced it with a very generic song.
It's time to fall asleep, my friends.
You can barely hear most of it because they keep cutting to Captain Hook and Peter and the audio is turned way down. Look, there are definitely themes from the older animations that you can update. This was not one of them. Mothers are and will continue to be one of the most important aspects of our society. Simply put, you wouldn't be here without one. Yeah, that just seems like a weird lesson to remove from the movie. I don't know. They also got rid of the whole jealousy arc between Tinkerbell and Wendy. Like, obviously, Tinkerbell starts off very jealous of Wendy, and this builds and builds and builds to a point where she becomes willing to poison Wendy. Obviously, character arc comes around, as does Tinkerbell, and then she ends up sacrificing herself in order to protect Wendy from that poison. Again, I don't know why. It was a compelling part of the first movie. I don't know why they removed it from this one. Disney got a Disney, I guess. I do appreciate that they tried to go for a more adult look at the actual concept of Neverland, but it doesn't end up going anywhere profound particularly and just ends up devolving into the usual Disney silliness. And of course, it wouldn't be a Disney movie without a bit of moral ambiguity. So here's a scene where Peter and Wendy are talking about Captain Hook.
When he returned, he changed.
He was cruel. Evil.
Was he though? Why'd he just grown up?
Wendy, what are you talking about? This is the man that has shot a cannon at you and your family multiple times and tried to execute your little brothers. And you're going with the, oh, maybe he's just misunderstood. Oh, give me a break, dude. So Peter, in the original, at one point or another, saves both Tiger Lily and Wendy. But in this one, Peter is saved on separate occasions by both Tiger Lily and Wendy. Wow, Disney, you really revolutionized the formula there.
You have the boy's magic.
No, this magic belongs to no boy.
Yes! Oh, yes! Disney, you're killing the game. Smashing the patriarchy one shit movie at a time. And yes, for any of you wondering, it just so happens that Wendy's very good at fighting with a sword, because of course she is. By the power of friendship and being a woman! Hopefully this thing still works. And the final showdown on Hook's now floating ship is ridiculous. I mean, it's one of the more entertaining scenes, if you can call it that, but it's ridiculous. I mean, at one point, the ship's wheel, like, turns the boat as it would in real life, but then later on in the scene, they turn the wheel again, but this time the ship rolls because of the plot, I guess. The only scene that I thought had any real weight to it was when Peter catches Hook when he's falling and, you know, tells him to think of happy thoughts, but he ends up falling because he doesn't have any.
Peter. I haven't got any.
It was actually like a, oh, shit kind of moment, but, you know, much like Hook, it ended up drowning in a sea of bad decisions. Then the ending is supposed to be, you know, all emotional and whatnot, but actually what happens is Peter Pan just leaves all of the Lost Boys at the Darlings' house and flies off back to Neverland, leaving the parents with, what, like 20 kids to look after now? Like, these people are going to be financially bankrupt. They're screwed. Then Peter goes back to Neverland and smiles at a Captain Hook, who it turns out hasn't died. You know, a suitably dumb ending to a pretty dumb movie, really. You know, a lot of people say that the only reason that Disney continues to regurgitate these live-action reboots is because they've run out of ideas and creativity. And while that might be the case, more importantly, I think that it's simply, it's Disney's attempt to rewrite its own history. You know, to replace all of those out-of-touch old animations with new, shiny films that more closely represent the beliefs of today. And, you know, though depictions found in a lot of old Disney films might not be acceptable now, those movies still revolved around, you know, a strong sense of morality. You know, they sought to teach children to be good people. The old animations taught simple and at times very complex values that people shared regardless of their political standings. Things like being kind, being conscientious, standing up for what you believe in, being brave. But somewhere along the way, this has been lost. I mean, sure, you know, you might have shared some of the negative aspects of the older animated movies, but you've also lost a sense of soul. Like, these live-action movies barely speak to people today. When was the last time you heard someone mention the live-action Dumbo movie? Or Pinocchio? I mean, you know, this is reflected in the box office performances and, you know, the cultural relevance of them. You know, no one talks about these films unless they're dunking on them. People still watch the old animated films. Some of those are almost a century old. You know, you've lost something that you desperately need to try and find again. In conclusion, this movie was not good. You know, it clearly learned no lessons from any of its predecessors and their long list of failures. It looked at them and thought, yeah, let's give that a go, and just went ahead and did the exact same things. It was devoid of charm, it was devoid of wit, it was dull, both thematically and colour. It shares this same washed out, desaturated colour grading that all of the live action Disney reboots seem to have these days. It made the unusual decision to remove themes, arcs, and songs that made the original so iconic, and the things that it did add, it did so just ham-fistedly, unnecessarily. It isn't able to replace the original, nor is it strong enough to stand alone. Yes, do not waste your time going to watch this movie. No part of me can recommend this in any way whatsoever, unless you just really don't like yourself. In which case, go right ahead. But yes, thank you very much for sticking around, and thank you very much for watching this video. I look forward to seeing the next one, but until then, take care of yourself, guys. See you soon. And if you're looking for props from your favourite video games and movies, hit the top link in the description, Raven Forge. Those guys support me here on this channel, so if you go and check them out, I'd appreciate that very much. Thank you guys. And as it's been a while since the last upload, I want to take the time to thank each and every one of the channel members and the patrons, now all in order of when you joined. So starting with the top tier, we've got Pozza1, Flunky, Jax, Koss, Texas Lawman, and ATS. Tier 2, we've got Dr. Melski, Saeed, Sensei Fang, Mendicant Bias, Michael S, and Saint Nemo. Tier 1, we've got my dear friend Steve the Goat, Sammy Moraine, Chloe Bond, Lord Claret, Brett Leafus, Darius, Sammy JW, MG Virgil, Baggy Sweatpants, and Seb Miranda. And of course, the channel members as well. The top tier, we've got Infinite Dum Dum, David, and Michael. Thank you very much, guys. Tier 2, we've got Yarnwich, Hadziu, Mark Maidens, Kanak Dogramachi, Michael Turpia, and Dagger D69. Nice. And then tier 1, of course, McGrail13, Chucha Chasley, Erica S, and Ivan. Yeah, to each and every one of you, thank you so much for sticking around. I'm looking forward to getting content back to you guys again. So yeah, thank you very much. It's good to be back. It's real good to be back. Yes, thank you for watching. There we go. Another day, another video. Will you join me for our next one? You better do, you little bitch. But until then, take care.